Ashley Campbell with Daily Encouragement. This is Wednesday, and I'm actually going to take some time to read an article to you guys that I read just the other day that was extremely frustrating. But it's important for us to know what's going on so we can make better decisions and, we can hold people accountable. So I'm going to read an article to you guys. Democrats vote unanimously to include illegal immigrants in census. What the heck? So before we get into it, you guys see that chair? Or I guess it'd be this side over there. So that is, my husband bought me that chair last Mother's Day. And so when it's nice outside, I like to sit out in the sun and chill. And then we've got, my posters in the back. And so anyway, without further ado, I want to read this to you guys really quick. Okay, so let me go back to it. Let me see if I can find the article. And then we are going to have this conversation. Okay. All right, one more time. I got to reopen it, you guys. Like I said, I'm going to read it to you guys really fast. All right, so this is important. Democrats vote unanimously to include illegal immigrants in census. This came out March 10th. Hey, Sue, how's it going? Good afternoon, my friend. All right, so here we go. This was in the Epic Times. It says Senate Democrats have unanimously defeated Senator Bill Hagerty's, representative of Tennessee, proposal to bar illegal immigrants from being counted in the national census, warning that their numbers go toward informing the apportioning of House seats in the Electoral College. Soon after President Joe Biden took office in 2021, he signed an executive order requiring the Census Bureau to determine the population of each state in the United States without regard to whether residents have lawful immigration status. The amendment, which would be added to the Equal Representation Act that Senator Hagerty proposed last month, would require the Census Bureau to include a citizenship question in any future census. Anyone who isn't a U.S. citizen, including people with temporary visas and green cards, would then be excluded from the ballot for congressional district and electoral college apportionments. Census data is collected every 10 years. The proposal was attached to the $460 billion government spending package that was passed on Saturday. No, where the hell are we getting this money from? Did you guys know that we are constantly borrowing money from China? Every single time they pass, these spending packages, every time we send money over to where. Oh my gosh. Anyway, the measure was shot down 45-51 after failing to get even a single Democratic vote. Senator Hagerty released a statement on March 8th accusing Democrats of holding back the amendment for political reasons while also promising to keep pressing the issue. Democrats' unanimous opposition to this common sense measure confirms that they're using illegal aliens and sanctuary cities to increase their political power, he said. With this vote, Senate Democrats chose to trample on the rights of each American's voice. I will continue to fight and press the issue in the Senate, Senator Hagerty added. Senator Hagerty has made this accusation in the past, arguing that Democrats in sanctuary cities are allowing illegal immigrants into their regions in the hopes of gaining more votes and greater representation in the House of Representatives and Electoral College. A sanctuary city is an area where the authorities may limit cooperation with the federal government's effort to enforce immigration law, deportation, or prosecution. At the moment, roughly 200 cities, counties, and states are considered sanctuary cities in the United States, with New Orleans, New York City, and Washington, D.C. among them. Senator Bill Cassidy, representative in Louisiana, Tommy Tuberville, Republican from Alabama, and several other Republicans were also sponsors of the Equal Representation Act introduced by Senator Hagerty last month. According to the press release from Senator Cassidy, the legislation came in response to a video that showed a Democrat congresswoman openly calling for more illegal immigration to her New York congressional district because she needs more people in her district for redistricting purposes. Okay, they just told you what Democrat did that. She's from New York. If you live in New York, you need to call every single Democrat representative in your area and ask them, what the hell are you doing? Why would anybody think this was a good idea? It's not. But she needs more votes. So she wants the illegals to be counted in the census so they can have more representatives, more Democrat representatives in the area, right? Anyway, it's insane. I can't believe she actually said it. Actually, no, I'm glad she did, because now you know where people stand. Now we just have to do something, right? Anyway, let me continue this article. According to the Republican senators, the excessive number of illegal immigrants in a state like California has helped the state take several more congressional seats and electoral college votes than the population of citizens otherwise justifies. They accuse California and similar states of being more lenient with illegal immigrants in the hopes of increasing the power of their residents' votes relative to those residing in states without a population boost from illegal immigration. This creates a perverse incentive, encouraging illegal immigration and resettlement to increase political power, the senator said. Duh, and more freaking duh, people. Elon Musk, the CEO of social media platform X, also commented on the legislation's failure to pass, repeating similar claims made by Senator Hagerty. According to Mr. Musk, the Census Bureau currently counts all people in a district, regardless of citizenship, for purposes of voting, upsetting the balance of power. Since illegals are mostly in Democrat states, both the House and the presidential vote are shifted about 5% to the left, which is enough to change the entire balance of power. Do you see how crooked this shit is? Seriously, you guys? It makes me so angry. This is a major reason why the Biden administration is ushering in record levels of illegals and doing so few deportations, Mr. Musk added. Duh. The vote for an amendment to the Equal Representation Act comes as illegal immigration remains a hot button issue in the election cycle. President Biden visited the southern border last week and then called for Congress to pass a bipartisan border bill in his State of the Union address. Record numbers of illegal immigrants and illicit drugs have been flowing into America in recent years. At the moment, it's estimated that more than 10 million illegal immigrants have crossed the border since President Biden took office in 2021. And you guys don't think this has anything to do with them trying to change the election. Whatever. Republicans have been pushing for stricter border laws for years. By the way, I don't think they need stricter border laws. They need to just enforce what's already there. Duh. Why is he not closing the border? I just read to you why. Republicans have been pushing for stricter border laws. However, recently, congressional Republicans started calling for President Biden to close the border immediately in the wake of 22-year-old nursing student Laken Hope Riley being murdered by a man who was illegally living in the United States. Here's the other thing. Are Americans not concerned about the influx of illegal immigrants coming to this country? And the amount of rapes and kidnappings and all those things that actually you just increased that by a ton. Seriously, you guys, this kind of stuff that happens, it happens very frequently in very poor countries. That's like how they survive. Okay. So, you all better stay strapped. In a February 24th post on social media platform X, House Speaker Mike Johnson urged President Biden to use his existing statutory authority and close the border now. He already has the authority to do it, but he's not. Why? Because we already just said. They want to count the illegals in the census that's coming up so they can have more representation in the government. The brutal murderer who took the life of Laken was one of the millions of illegal aliens that the Biden administration simply released and unleashed upon our country, Mr. Johnson said. For Laken and the countless many others lost to this border catastrophe, House Republicans will continue to fight tooth and nail for a return to law and order, he added. And I will add this, that's the end of the article. It needs to be more than just these people that we hired. Imagine if every single United States citizen actually said, you know what, enough is enough. Seriously. What if we all just said, you know what, we're not going to go to work today. We're all going to go to our capitals and tell our government to get their head out of their ass, right? Or what if everybody who lives in New York, who lives in these sanctuary states, California, now look, I know that a lot of people are leaving these states, but what if that was their plan to begin with? Seriously. What if they already knew that people were going to leave so they could fill up these states with these illegal immigrants, right? So now everybody's leaving California, they're leaving New York, right? All these American citizens are going to these other places, flood it with 10 million people, put them into these crappy states that these people are going to. Matter of fact, let's be clear. If most Americans are ignorant of the United States government, how it works, how much more people coming into this country? They don't care. They're going to vote Democrat. They already talked about it. They already, I was listening to a, what was it? You guys, hold on just a second. Aaliyah, what do you need? I'm right in the middle of the live.
Can Nina go watch Bluey?
Yes, you can watch Bluey. Anyway, what was I gonna say? You guys, I apologize. I told you I have to do this in real time. Ignorance. Oh, that's what it was. What's his name? The guy who Project Veritas, James O'Keefe. He was interviewing some of these illegals that were coming in, and they were like, "Who'd you vote for?" Oh, they're going to vote for Biden. Duh. We already knew that's going to happen. They're going to vote for whoever let them in. They're like, "Oh, he's giving me an opportunity." That's what they say. Right? So anyway, that's these are questions you guys are asking ourselves. So, again, what if people living in these sanctuary states still actually called? And here's the thing too. The other thing I thought about. Even if you don't live in that state, who gives a shit? Like, what if we flooded their phones and said, "Hey, Democrats, you guys need to pull your head out of your asses and you need to protect our country because that's what you were supposed to be doing," right? So we can't keep relying on our current government to actually do their job because they've proven that they're not, right? They spend the shit out of our money like crazy. They're spending. You guys hate inflation? It's because these idiots are running the country, sending it over to another country. And I always wondered about that, right? It's all this money is going over here to Ukraine. And I wonder, why is that? Why do they care so much about Ukraine? Well, is not the president, as far as we know, and Hunter Biden being investigated right now for having business deals in Ukraine? I almost wonder if it's sort of like a payoff or a buy-off. Who freaking knows, dude? It's the biggest scam of the world. Is there things happening over there? Of course there is. But guess what? The reasons that we think they're doing it is not the reasons that they're actually doing it for. That is the whole nature of deception. How many of you actually get to talk to your representatives face to face and actually figure the reasons out for why they're supporting sending all this money to these places? None of them should get a damn dime, right? Especially if you've got a current president and his son being investigated from the very same country that we're sending money to is the very same president, his son, that's being investigated right now for the crap that they were doing. These are things we got to ask, right? And we already see what their priorities are. Even some of the so-called Republicans, I don't even give a shit anymore if you're a liberal or a Republican. They're all screwed up, right? None of them, very few and in between actually care about this country. And really thank God for them. I pray that, God will give them strength. I pray that God would remove all the other crooked ass people in these positions who are destroying and burning this country right in front of us. It's like, when are we going to realize that if we don't fight for our country, we're not going to have a country? Our representatives are not fighting for us. They got their heads up their asses right now, and they're getting paid at the same time. You know what I mean? It's crazy the amount of money that they get to make, that they spend, and the things that they do behind our backs. So anyway, I just wanted to read the article to you guys because it was infuriating, that they're wanting to use the illegal immigrants in the census so that way they can have more people, more representation in the government. That's corrupt as hell. And so I would encourage you guys to figure out who your representatives are in your area, call them and say, what the hell are you going to do about this BS wanting to count illegal immigrants in the census? We got to do something. We're getting to that point, you guys. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So seriously, call them. So Haggerty, he's one of my reps. I live out here in Tennessee. So I'm glad that he did something good. It's unfortunate that a lot of the Democrats shot it down. But I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call Marsha Blackburn, because those are my 2 senators in my state. And I'm gonna ask them, what are we gonna do? And then I'm gonna call the Democrats. I don't care if they're in my district or not. They're representing us no matter what. So call them and say, what the hell are you doing? If we flood their phones or do something, right? We got to start doing something. We got to let them know that we see them and start putting fire underneath their asses. Seriously. You guys, read the Declaration of Independence. Okay? Right over there. Read it. It talks about when your government is getting corrupt and that we have the authority to institute new government. But that's the other thing too. That's the other problem we got going on, is we can institute new government all we want. But if we don't even know the principles and the things to keep the good, how the hell are we going to preserve it? I don't even know if we have an educated populace enough to actually preserve it. Seriously, you guys, this is stuff we got to ask ourselves, So take time to learn these things yourself for the sake of, you being part of preserving that. Because if you get rid of it, then what? Right? Who are we going to put in these positions? Not very many people want to get involved in the arena these days, because look what they do. Look what happens to anybody who exercises any of their rights these days. What do? They lock your ass up. They censor you, right? So people are afraid. But come on. How long are we get so afraid to the point to where now it's completely destroyed and you have nothing, right? What do we do? I love the United States of America. I'm grateful for this country. It's not perfect, but there's no other place I'd rather be, right? I was listening to this video a while ago, and he goes, what's the biggest indicator that a country is worth saving? He goes, by the amount of people coming to it. How many people are running from the United States right now? What about all of the people who've been talking shit about the United States and they still live here, unfortunately, right? The ones who run their mouth, but then also benefit from it at the same time, okay? There's plenty of crooked ass people like that here too. So it's like, if we don't do our job and start educating ourselves to the government that we have as American citizens, we can get rid of it all we want, but then what are we going to do? So that's important. We got to educate ourselves in this process, but that doesn't mean don't do anything. Do something. Call them. Put your foot in their ass. Call every Democrat representative. I don't care if they're in your state or not. And you need to let them know that, hey, you guys are responsible for fucking this country up. All right. And I think if they hear from more and more common citizens like us, they're going to be like, oh, wait a minute. They are paying attention. Yeah, we are paying attention. We should be paying attention. And you should be letting them know that you're paying attention. Right? That's important, you guys. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me. John, Pamela. I just wanted to read that article to you guys because it was very frustrating. But I also wanted to encourage you guys to also just call your representatives. I don't care if they're in your district or not, especially if they're a Democrat and they voted to shut down that. The only thing Haggerty was trying to do was on the census, get it to where there's a box that they can check if they're illegal or whatever, so they don't get counted. They didn't want that on there. That's bullshit. Okay. So you guys, we got to do something. Anything is better than nothing at this point. And so anyway, you guys, I'm going to get off here. Be sure to search who your representatives are in your state. And, if you live in New York or California and you love this country, you especially need to call your representatives. You need to get on their ass. And at some point, I'm like, Lord, peacefully protest? Seriously. What if every single American said, you know what, government, kiss my ass. We're not going to work today. We're not doing nothing. Shut the whole shit down. Did you know they survive off of our backs, right? We pay their freaking salaries, busting your ass every single day, taxing the shit out of you, right? Did you know that right now, every single American in this country has over $250,000 debt on their head? And that's not even your debt per se. Let's just say you don't even own a house. You don't have any kind of loans out. That's how much money they've spent over your head. Isn't that disgusting? That's bullshit. So what if everybody just said, you know what? We're not going to go to work. No, let it hit them in their pocket. Like, how do we do it? Right? Because if they can't collect taxes on our asses, they're screwed. What do? Do we all, everybody meet up at their, state Capitol buildings. What do we do, right? And so, this stuff's been running through my mind for a long time. It's like, Lord, what are we going to do? We can't just sit back and watch this crap happen. But that's why at least do what you can do, right? Do something. Call people, chew their ass if you need to. Like, there's no more being nice guy anymore. It's literally, you got to say, what the F at this point, okay? What are you doing, okay? And educate yourself. Learn about your government of your country. Learn the process. Read the freaking Constitution. Read the Declaration of Independence. Read your Bill of Rights. This is the stuff that makes America, America. This is what we stand on. This is the foundation of the liberty and the freedom that we experience that these freaking morons are destroying and getting paid to do it. Isn't it insane that we're actually literally paying them at this point? None of them deserve a paycheck. What the hell are they doing with it? They're screwing all of us. So anyway, you guys, pick up the phones tomorrow, email them, figure out who these people are, let them know that, hey, we do not want illegals counted in the census. This is our country, and we're sick of it. And you guys, look, I don't care if people want to come to this country. You just need to do it legally. Why should you get to jump the border and then live off of our money, right? Get put up in hotels. How many of you ever stayed in some of these places these guys are in? All the money that they're getting. I think some of them are getting like $2,000 a month or some bullshit like that. More money than people who are on Social Security or veteran benefits, right? This is all getting paid for. They don't care. Well, let's do something about it. Put fire underneath their asses, you guys. Seriously, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to call them. I'm going to call them and say, hey, we hired you to do a job. Get it done. We do not want illegals counted on the census because they are illegal. You are breaking the law. How is that even legal that they can do that shit? Can somebody please explain that to me? Right? Seriously, how can that even be okay? So, you guys, pray, pick up the phone, okay, and let your voice be heard. I'm going to get off here. You guys have a great rest of the afternoon. I will be back on Friday for Food for Thought Friday. I just want to share that article with you guys. Thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you next time.